So we all have our favourite JRPGs, the ones that we like to slap on the 10 out of 10 motif onto. Now yes, you will have seen these videos popping around the place. So yes, this video has been inspired by the likes of Taylor from the Gaming Shelf and the likes of David Vink as well. So with that in mind, here are 10 JRPGs that deserve 10 out of 10. Let's have a look! So the first game that deserves 10 out of 10 is the Live Alive 2D HD Remake. Now this masterclass JRPG, as I said, is a remake of the Japan-only Super Famicom game. Now in Live Alive there is 8 scenarios that you play with 8 different characters through 8 different periods through time. The game does sport turn-based combat, so turn-based enthusiasts, get your hands on this. Now generally I enjoyed every single second with this game. It does help as well that the soundtrack is an utter banger as well. And the great thing with this is each story has different lengths of time. So for example, one of them only takes about an hour to get through, whilst Pogo, for example, his scenario takes a couple of hours to do. Either way, this is a great JRPG that you need to get your hands on, and it does deserve 10 out of 10. But my question to you is this really 10 out of 10? Let me know in the comments down below, and let's see what's next. So the second game is Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Now this behemoth of a JRPG was brought to us by Monolith Soft and is a Nintendo exclusive. Now in this we follow the adventures of Rex and Pyra and co as they look to find the birthplace of humanity, Elysium. Now these Xenoblade games are well known for their size and scope, and Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is no stranger to that. We follow the likes of Rex and his companions travelled on the backs of monsters in the sky known as the Titans. Now the combat in this game I like to call an automated combat system. It just kind of flows by itself. You'll also swap characters on the fly during battle and issue commands to earn that victory. Now I know what you're thinking, you'll be going, hold on, why Xenoblade Chronicles 2 over the likes of Xenoblade Chronicles 1 and Xenoblade Chronicles 3? I'll tell you for why. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was my first Xenoblade game that I played, so it does have that special place in my heart. I'm not discounting the likes of the first Xenoblade or Xenoblade 3, they are both fantastic games, but in this scenario, if you have to put a gun against my head, that's the one I'm going to choose. But what I want to know is, what Xenoblade Chronicle game is your 10 out of 10? Let me know in the comments down below, and let's see what is next. Now next up is Persona 4 Golden, the remaster of the PS2 JRPG classic. For the longest time this remaster was a PS Vita exclusive, however it is now available to the general public through Steam, Nintendo Switch and PlayStation. And it's about time, to be fair, because this is a 10 out of 10 JRPG. Now in this we follow our hero who has been transferred from the big city to a school in the village known as Inaba. And in this we follow our companions on the hunt to find the murderer in Inaba. Now the game sports turn-based combat and it is a belter, put it that way. So my question to you is, have you played Persona 4 Golden? Why not let me know in the comments down below, and let's see what is next. Now another game that is worthy of the 10 out of 10 moniker is Trails to Azure. Now this is the second game in the Crossbell duology in the Legend of Heroes games. And to be quite honest with you, I now understand why this is seen as the best Legend of Heroes Trails game which has been released. Now in this 10 out of 10 JRPG, we follow up from the first game in the Crossbell duology, Trails from Zero, where we follow Lloyd Bannings and the SSS in another fun-filled adventure. The game does not mess about here, it throws you right into the thick of it. Without any spoilers, this has got one of the best stories in the Trails of series. And with such a likeable cast and a fantastic turn-based combat system, what else could you ask for? Now, why is this a 10 out of 10 games? Simple, it's the story and the characters. The characters in this all are likeable and believable threats when it comes to battles. And this story, I can't talk about it because it would just be spoilers. But tell me, have you played the Crossbell duology? I think you know what to do. Let me know in the comments down below. And let's see what is next. Oh, actually, I'll give you a hint. It's another Falcom game. Told you it was a Falcom game. It's Trails of Cold Steel 4. So Trails of Cold Steel 4 is the final entry in the Erebonia arc of the Legend of Heroes Trails of series. Wow, that was a mouthful. Now in Trails of Cold Steel 4, we see Class 7 overcome the altercations of the ending of the previous game. And I tell you what, it's so hard to give a synopsis on this game because it's so hard to talk about Cold Steel games without spoilers. This game was the full package with the story, the characters and the combat. And once again, the music is a banger. That's the theme for today. Now, why is this a 10 out of 10 game? I'm hearing you saying right now. I'll tell you for why. Having this large arc played out through 4 games and having it culminating in this last game is just fantastic, and the payoff was brilliant, and the time I invested in this series was amazing. And I think if you put the time and effort into these games, you will see where I'm coming from. But am I speaking rubbish? Let me know in the comments down below, and let's see what's next. Now my next 10 out of 10 JRPG is none other than Nier Automata, the fantastic JRPG brought to us by Platinum Games and Square Enix. Now in this action JRPG we follow 2B, 9S and 2A as they explore the wastelands of a desolate world covered with mechanical beings. This game is begged to be played as there is multiple characters to play as, multiple endings, pretty much every letter in the alphabet you could think of, there's an ending for it. And the Platinum signature combat is on full display here. It is just fantastic to hack and slash away through all these robots. And the other great thing about Nier Automata is that it splits into different genres whilst you're in the middle of battle. So one minute you could be fighting a horde of robots on a 3D plane, and in the next minute you're on a 2.5 HD plane as well, fighting and kicking robot behind, bottom, whatever word you want to use. Why is this a 10 out of 10 game for myself? I loved the characters and the story here, and the ambience of this desolate world with the music which accompanies it was just timeless and has stuck with me. And now the fact that this game is available on Nintendo Switch and I can play this on the go is just even better. But my question now is, do you think Nier Automata deserves a 10 out of 10? Sound off in the comments down below, and let's see what's next. Now it's not a chicken fillets video without Final Fantasy VII Remake making an appearance. So yes, Final Fantasy VII Remake is a 10 out of 10 game for moi. In this we follow the Midgar section of the Final Fantasy VII story, following Cloud, Barret, Tifa and Aerith in this fully fleshed out version of Midgar. Now the game sports a action combat hybrid system which is just a utter blast to play, and I tell you what, the graphical overhaul in this game compared to the original block people of the PS1 game is just amazing. This is how I imagined the world when I was growing up. Now I've discussed this game and why I love it plenty of times on this channel, so let's see what's next, shall we? Okay, moving on. Right, I promise you this is the last Final Fantasy VII entry in this list. Don't worry, Dirge of Cerberus is definitely not going to be on this list. But yes, the next 10 out of 10 game is Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion. Now this is the remaster / remake of the original PSP Crisis Core title, a prequel story which is focused on soldier operative Zack Fair. Now although the original Crisis Core is amazing in its own right and it has a really big part in my gaming life, I have picked Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion because of the quality of life changes. The game has been brought up to modern standards. Now the PSP version, as great as it was back then, has definitely aged, but the new graphical overhaul in this is just amazing. Now this version's combat has been overhauled completely and is more in line with the Final Fantasy VII Remake, however it still holds true to the Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core on PSP with some of the actions. Now why is this a 10 out of 10 game? Well, for the reasons I've stated before, this game has a big part of my gaming history. It was the game which brought me back into playing JRPGs properly, so I will always hold this close to my heart. But what I want to know is, what are your thoughts on Crisis Core, and do you think this deserves a 10 out of 10? Let me know in the comments down below, and let's see what's next. Now my final 10 out of 10 JRPG is Bravely Default 2. Now in this game we follow the 4 Warriors of Light as they try to obtain the 4 crystals throughout. Wait 1 minute, this is Final Fantasy. Bravely Default 2 is a spiritual successor to the likes of Final Fantasy 3 and Final Fantasy 5 with their job systems. Now Bravely Default 2 is reliant on the job systems for the turn-based combat. With having the correct jobs learnt, you will be able to have that edge in battle. And I tell you what, I really love the art style and art direction of this game. Now you might be thinking, hold on, this is your last pick and you've picked Bravely Default 2 as your 10 out of 10? Eh? I'll tell you why I've picked this one. Now Bravely Default 2 does something that no other JRPG can do, and that's to get me to enjoy a job-based system. I really have a hard time enjoying games with job-based systems in the combat, but I really enjoyed these systems in this game. The fact you can speed up battles in this game is just a game changer when it comes to grinding and leveling up all the job skills. Bravely Default 2 to me is the complete package when it comes to a job system JRPG game. So there we have it, 10 JRPGs which deserve a 10 out of 10. Now what I want to know is, what are the 10 games that you think deserve a 10 out of 10? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you like what you're seeing on the channel, please help me grow it by liking, sharing and subscribing. But until next time, tatty bye!